Shalumpkin Leute, guy from Shy Squad back at it again with a rare video that's not about a baritone and it's not an unboxing. This is the Steinberger Spirit GT Pro and it's a regular guitar, and I have finally got a brand new side project where I can put it to use. Everybody knows the Steinberger, or as we say in the Vaterland, Steinberger, the iconic headless stick-like thing from the 80s. Much like its contemporary, the synth axe or keytar, it might seem like a gimmick, a relic from the new wave era. But unlike the strap-on keyboard, every single aspect of its outlandish appearance is actually a groundbreaking feat of engineering and innovative design. Much like my boss Tommy Stumpf, the Steinberger was truly ahead of its time, and not always well understood by its contemporaries. But what not everybody knows is that there's a bargain basement version of the Steinberger that gives you almost but not quite everything you need for under $500. In fact, were it not for Scott Grove of Groovy DJs, far and away my favorite YouTube guitar guru, I wouldn't know about it at all. The original burgers from the 80s are worth a ton of money, made of a proprietary blend of graphite and carbon fiber, fitted with custom hardware, and generally the kind of thing that the powers that be try to keep out of the hands of hoi polloi like yours truly. Made of an exotic composite material known as maple, the El Cheapo line of Steinberger spirits makes more bang for your buck than almost anything out there in the affordable category. In fact, I'm surprised it has not completely cornered the market on travel guitars, because, despite its diminutive dimensions, absolutely no compromises have been made. It boasts a full 25.5-inch scale length, and gives you everything you can get from a regular Fender Strat, only better. Unlike all the gimmicky travel guitars I've ever seen, the Spirit is a full-fledged, straight-up, real-deal instrument, and that alone makes it well worth it for anyone who wants to take a guitar with them wherever they go, even if you hate the aesthetics. Which brings us to the next point. The optics of the headless neck and paddle body are almost universally reviled, at least here in the Vaterland, that is, because the Germans absolutely hate them.
Dich befehl ich dir, wende dein Antlitz ab von mir, dein Gesicht ist mir egal. Ein, zweimal darauf fallen vieren, ich führe ihn spazieren im Pascal, den Florenzland, ich bin enttäuscht.
That's right. In Europe's breadbasket of industrial engineering innovation that brought you everything from the internal combustion engine to cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamines, as well as a litany of game-changing musical artists such as Einstürzende Neubauten, Kraftwerk, and Tommy Stumpf. Most guitarists here are still so wrapped up in conservative notions of traditional aesthetics that they'll laugh the good old Berger right out of court. And some of them even think the minimal body size makes them sound worse. Detractors of the Steinberger even include the revolutionary patron saint of alternate tunings, Thurston Moore of Sonic Youth, who has gone on record saying he'd play anything but a Steinbrenner. So let it be known, absolutely nothing about this design is arbitrary or intended to look futuristic just for the hell of it. In 1979, engineer Ned Steinberger set out to resolve all mechanical shortcomings of conventional electric guitar design and finish what Leo Fender had started 30 years prior. Basically, most tuning problems are caused when the strings get hung up in the nut or saddle slot, whereupon they eventually go bing and blammo, you're way out of tune. With conventional 3-on-a-side headstocks, this is sure to happen often, because the strings angling off to the left and right after the nut cause a lot of friction. Leo partially rectified this with his 6-on-1-side headstocks, which made for a straight path for the strings from the nut to the tuner, but it still required string trees to hold them down, which created more friction too, and besides, the biggest trouble is the nut itself. So off with the nuts was Ned Steinberger's logical solution. His novel double ball end system eliminates not only the nut, but all dead string length. A second ball anchors the strings at their mounts on the end of the neck. The string's speaking length starts immediately at the 0 fret and terminates at the exceptionally smooth roller saddles on the bridge, after which they anchor into the bridge-mounted tuning machines. And yes, it does require these special double ball end strings, but you can get them cheap on the internet anyway. And when it comes to locking your strings in place, I'll be damned if this ain't the next best thing to a full-on Floyd Rose. I bought this axe on Scott Grove's recommendation back in 2011, and the last time I changed the strings was in the summer of 2014, and it's seen a fair bit of use in the meantime, only requiring a couple of cents worth of fine-tuning every few weeks or so. This bridge has got to be one of the most practical pieces of standard production hardware in the affordable price range. It's got this little lever thingy you pull to unlock it. You put the wang in the hole and go to town. It all the way down to the ground. It goes right back into position, and damned if you ain't still pretty much in tune after all that wang work. Good enough for punk rock. Build quality, fit, and finish are truly exceptional for a piece in this price range. It's got a nice neck and super smooth fretwork. No sharp ends or fart outs. And I attribute this all to the fact that it was made in Korea. That's right. We get such fine axes at such good prices from our friends in the ROK that I think all that tragic loss of life and that police action of dubious legality that's still not officially over yet was well worth it for the guitars alone, to say nothing of the myriad of other goodies that Goryeo gives us. I've never had a guitar that was made in Korea that you could call shiesty. In fact, that could be a topic for another big long guitar nerd out diatribe. We could take all my MIKs and stack them up for a little comparing and contrasting against all my fine production items from the kingdom of the commie cough. So if you're up for a little hardcore nerd out about more minutia, let me know in the comments below. And of course, it's got the famous Steinberger out flipper so the axe don't slip off your leg for sit-down work. And last but not least, one of my most beloved accessories of all time, this adorable little tote bag, complete with a sewn-on side pocket where you can hide your wee whammy bar. Yeah, that's right, it's where you put the whammy bar and your extra strings. And check this out. The whole package is so damn tiny. Here's my pool cue bag for comparison. This fully deployable guitar carrier kit, including weed bag for the whammy bar, ain't much bigger than this street legal massive beatdown tool you use when you need to lay down the law with propriety, while maintaining the sophisticated image of an experienced billiard hustler. But now that I've been gushing all over this baby burger so long to the point that it sounds like I might be wangling for endorsement money, it's time to get to the sole drawback of this delightful little blunt instrument of destruction. The pickups totally suck, man. Okay, now it's time for us to talk about the problematic aspects of this guitar, because listen. It's not supposed to do that. These pickups are microphonic. Okay, they put in the cheapest pickups they could find. And see here, it says they're Steinberger pickups, but that is a lie. They are EMG Selects. Some of the cheapest pickups you can buy, I think a set of 3 is like $30. These are $10 each. They were really cutting their costs on this one because the rest of the guitar is really nice. Okay, bridge. That's right. The company that ended up buying out Steinberger cheaped out on the pickups so spectacularly they basically obliterated any chances of being what could otherwise have been one of the very best low-price axes ever. In fact, this is such a conspicuous case of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory that I think our friends from that one cock rock company that did it on purpose so that their maple-capped 17-degree neck-angled marvels of outmoded design wouldn't be outshined by some weird new wave novelty from a guy outside the company. Ned Steinberger is to be absolved of any wrongdoing here, by the way. I don't know the details of why he sold out to the Pauli guys, but he's an archetypal example of a brilliant designer who got bogged down in the business. But at least he's remained active on his own with a long line of further innovations under the brand NS Design, initials which bear an unfortunate negative connotation to the knowers of the Deutsche Sprache. Okay, so the pickups. Indeed, they do suck, but at least they suck in a highly nuanced sort of way. Not only are they microphonic, subjecting you to howling feedback and all sorts of extraneous noise at high gain, they are also imbalanced in volume, and you'll get none of that classic Fender quack in the in-between positions. But they're still good enough for home practice. Neck pickup only sounds kinda sort of okay for clean and mellow work, and the bridge humbucker does give you a lot of gain for a pleasingly horrible frying sound for hard rock and metal. So the caveat emptor, be prepared to swap out the pups. But even if you figure in 150 extra, I'd still say it's totally worth it. To wind this down, I will point out that the company Hohner has been making totally legit Steinberger copies under license for a long time now, and I hear they're pretty good. So that might be an option you'd want to explore, especially if you want to avoid giving any money to Gibby. But all I've tried in real life was a Hohner headless bass from my main man Eddie in Nixta, but his ended up breaking and needing to be replaced. You got a Music Man Stingray. And speaking of basses, I also have a Steinberger Spirit 5-string. But that's another story for another time. So there you have it, folks, the Steinberger GT Pro. And it is one of my favorite normal non-baritone guitars in my whole collection. And I can't wait to show it to you in my new side project, the Sam Bear Gots. See you next time.